I met God and the devil on the same night. What exactly does that mean? Well, it means that the night that I actually met the devil, I did not believe in my heart, in my mind, in what I really said to people that the devil actually existed and was real and was really out to get people, hurt people, steal, kill, and destroy. That was not something that I believed. I thought it was a farce. I thought it was kind of stupid for people to say. I did believe in spirits. I did believe in evil spirits. In my family, there are African American people, Hispanic people, and white people. And so I did know a lot about Santeria and some spiritual things that you see sometimes in Hispanic families, being of Puerto Rican or Dominican culture, heritage, so to speak. And so, but even though I believed in that, I did not specifically believe in a devil, which is crazy. And so on that night, a couple days before, my friend and I were going on vacation. It was pretty close to one of my best friends then, my sister. Well, she was like a sister and a best friend. And we were going on vacation. I was active in tarot reading for over a year. And so a couple days actually before the trip, I was threatened by the devil. But because I didn't believe, I didn't have eyes to see or ears to hear. And that means spiritually, guys. That doesn't mean in the natural. And so I knew and understood a lot of half-truths. From childhood to adulthood, I have studied 7 religions or religious practices. I have known and served many little g gods, but until I met the one true living God, Jesus Christ, I did not know the true living God. So what happens is life is really like Russian roulette, and you are literally walking your own free will that the Lord gives us and your own path until you get too far off of your path and the purpose that you were actually created for from the one true living God, and that's when God steps in. And so if you ever wonder like, well, why didn't God get me out of that? That was horrible too. We are allowed free will. He wants us to come to him. He does not force us to. He is not a dictator. And so it is like Russian roulette, though, if you could think of Russian roulette, because you think you know everything and you actually really don't. You're literally walking yourself into your own demise. And so I walked myself into my own demise, and God was there because God is always ahead of the devil. But the devil had a plan, and the Lord knew in my heart that was the only way I was really going to learn. And so the Lord allowed it to be what it was going to be. The other piece is that between childhood and adulthood, I have studied 7 religions or religious practices, many. I spent 6 years as a law of attraction coach. In my almost mid-20s, like early to mid-20s, I started getting into law of attraction pretty heavily. I always had a gifting I could never understand, and I was not raised in the Word of God. I was not raised in the Bible. One of the religions that we did study was Catholicism, which is a false doctrine, but that was as close as I ever came to hearing Jesus's name. We didn't do any of that. And so I didn't get anything that the Lord would want people, as he says, raise your children in the way they should go. I didn't get any of that as a child. And so with the devil's trickery, he knew that. And so there were always things, I was always concerned with mental health and emotional health. I was always concerned with things you couldn't see. I was always very aware in my body, whether I told people or not, that there was something outside of all of this. I was always very conscious that I wanted to know more about what that was. I wanted to know more about my family. I was just kind of born into realizing like something ain't right. Something ain't right. The only time I felt really comfortable and welcomed for my gifting to talk about it, I was that friend in my early 20s where I would be like, to my friends, I would say things like, why do you think one house got robbed on the entire block? And sometimes my friends would be like, yo, you just think too deep, bro. Like, you're always thinking, like, nobody cares about that. So that didn't make me want to share it more or talk about it more, of course. And so that led me, of course, the devil knowing that, into this counterfeit spirituality. And so I was doing spiritual healing. I had a Facebook group. It had 13,000 people in it. And I was doing law of attraction coaching with a guy. another guy who was an author. He was very well versed and known in the field. I was doing shadow work, and right before Christ found me, I guess Christ was like, now you're really doing too much, little girl. I was studying to be a shaman, and all things of the devil. These are all demonic things, all of them. And because I didn't understand my gifting, I was very welcomed, accepted. And it was law of attraction in New Age is a very friendly space. We're all talking to each other. We're all excited about sharing gifts and sharing things that each other learns. And there's no fighting. There's no arguing for the most part. Everybody's willing to share stuff together. That's exactly the way the devil likes it. And so, that's some of the background. So fast forwarding to the exact few moments, me and my friend had drank and gone to some parties the night before, a couple nights before, like a night or two before. And on this specific night, we were going to a party, but a couple hours before that, on that exact day, I was itching like really bad, and I was prone to rashes and things of that nature, and I was itching like really, really bad. We had ordered some Thai food, I believe, and I had eaten Thai food many times before. So now you're getting into the spirituals, right? And whatever changed, whatever they put on it, clearly we had never eaten here because we ordered it from an app. And it came to an Airbnb we were staying in. We didn't absolutely love the Airbnb that we were in either. It was a little creepy, but nice. And of course, on the trip, I had brought my tarot cards. We had brought sage, just tons of normal New Age counterfeit spirituality things, right? And so we had planned to use them and just like have a really good time. So I was itching before that. And what's interesting is now I can go back and see how the Lord was involved, because before the trip, I bought bunches of Benadryl just because I never knew why. I was like popping them. And then I had gotten really sad about, I think, my ex or something. And I went to do cards before we were going to go out. And so I was just in the mode, right? Now, in my Facebook group, everyone knew that I was going on this trip. And a couple days before that, I kept asking people if they wanted to start like a prayer group. I never knew why, ever. It was just super, super surreal. And so I was the person, I'm pretty bold and outspoken. And so a lot of people just lie. You know, you don't have to be full on atheist to not really be a follower of Christ. You can know his name and have no relationship with him. And that is a lot of Christians now, but you can build relationship with him. And so I think that's why a lot of people like the counterfeit spirituality too, because they're, just trying to figure out so much. Like, life is hard. So I don't remember if I told my friend or like didn't tell my friend. I really just don't remember. And so we get to, so we're going to the party, right? This is hours, okay? Hours and hours. It had to be 2 or more hours after. We also went to a witch shop there, but not the Hispanic ones. One of the like West Indian ones, because we were trying to get more sage, also super creepy. So mind you, this is still hours after I ate the food and was itching. And we start like just walking. So now I feel like I'm in slow motion, but I'm not saying anything to my friend yet. And we're walking and we're like walking to the bar. We're looking around or whatever. And I want you to hear this spiritually. The DJ said, I see y'all. I see you in the pink dress, because that was the first time the devil started speaking. He was speaking. See, spirits need bodies, guys. They need bodies to use. They need vessels. And when you give them legal rights by the things that you choose to do, horoscopes, tarot cards, keeping things in your house, meditating, yoga, crystals, a multitude of other things, you are giving them legal right in your life to be there, to be in your body, so that they can hopefully possess you, take over you, and begin to function and use what they want to use to kill, steal, and destroy other people, other situations, and other things. And so that was another. So the first devil was when I was threatened out of the girl's mouth a couple days before. This was the second. I'm sure many others, but this was the second other big one when he said that. So you might say like, oh, well, Jess, that's regular. It was not regular. It was not regular at all. But again, you would have to be in my shoes. And so he was speaking to me, letting me know, I know that you're here. And so as I'm walking in this like slow motion kind of feeling, I get to my friend's like about to order, and I like step to to like the bar, and I feel like the best way I could explain it, guys, is I felt like boom, like something had just, I mean, not even a human punch through my body. And I was like, I wasn't telling my friend, but I was like, oh my goodness, like what happened? So I'm like scared, trying to pull it together. And I was like, okay. So that night also, the Lord, he removed the veil from my eyes. So this is not, everything has to happen in the spiritual realm before it happens in the earth realm. And so we don't see those things on the regular. Your eyes have a veil over them. And so God that night had removed the veil over from my eyes, and I began seeing in the spirit that night. It was a very terrifying experience. #terror. So then we walk again to try to order, and I feel it again, boom. And I was like, oh, like it was shaking me over, like I almost couldn't stand on my 2 feet. It was strong. It was overwhelmingly strong. It was not a human force whatsoever. And so I'm like, not keeping my balance very well. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I start feeling ridiculously funny. Mind you, there's no drink in my system. I have never taken drugs in my life. I was a light drinker before that, because when I first did this testimony, people kept asking me because they still didn't want to believe. And that's okay. If you're one of those people, that's okay, because you'll have your time. I'm feeling absolutely disgusting inside of my body. Not very explainable. Inside of my body, I feel like I'm starting to feel like there's something in my body. I'm awake, no drink, no drugs. I'm starting to feel like things are like moving, for lack of better words, and I was really scared. My friend's like looking at me like, bro, you're good? And I was like, I'm not really sure if I'm like, okay. Immediately after, guys, I cannot feel my tongue, and I cannot feel the side of my face. I'm super scared at this point. And I feel the boom like a third time, but every time I felt it, it was stronger. Like I felt like my body wasn't even gonna like sit there anymore. And then right after that is when I believe God removed the veil. I'm paraphrasing because this was years ago now. Right after that is when I believe God removed the veil. I was terrified to talk about any of this for a good year. It was very, very damaging. And so praise the living God, Jesus Christ, that I can be here able to share with any of you that want to listen, anyone that wants to hear, and anyone that he knows in their heart wants to get out of this as soon as possible. And then the people in the party were no longer people. So, I'm terrified at this point. I'm seeing people, and they look pretty much, oh guys, it's like speechless words. It's like sometimes I can't even do it justice. Please get out of New Age. Please get out of counterfeit spirituality. Please. I can't even do it justice. I'm trying my best. And so the people are moving and they're walking and they don't look real. I'm getting a sense at that time that they were dead. And so I'm sitting there, not drunk, did not have a drink that night, no drugs ever in my life, freaking out. And I'm like, basically like talking to my friend, like, yo, are you seeing this? Like, I felt like I stepped into another world, and they're walking and all I can say is they looked absolutely disgusting. All I can say is it's just felt like if you're a sensitive person, you understand everything in there felt dead. Everything in there felt, oh my gosh, it felt unreal. Like it didn't even feel like we were here anymore. And they did not look right. I didn't want them breathing on me. I didn't want them next to me. I'm looking around. I was terrified, but I knew At that point in time, I knew I was seeing something and I was encountering something that was above my pay grade, if you know that's comment. I knew that I was encountering some level of spirituality that I was not prepared for or not ready for. And I didn't know how to get out of it, and I was terrified. So after that, I'm not feeling anything. And I tell my friend, because I'm seeing all this stuff now, these people look dead. I can't even explain to you guys what that looks like unless you've seen it. I can't. Please get out of it. Please get out of it. Please. And so the people, oh my gosh. Even saying it to you now is like, Jesus, praise Jesus, like praise Jesus. And so I tell my friend, like, yo, we gotta go. We have to go. Like, something's wrong with me. And she was like, okay, like, we gotta go. And I was like, oh my God, are you seeing like everybody next to me? They start coming closer to me. But mind you, I'm in the spirit now, right? Like my eyes. And so they're coming close to me. They just look disgusting. Like, I feel like if they even touch me, I don't even know what's happening. And so when I go back to the table to get my ID, these girls come next to me and they start to, it was the same voice, guys, not the same voice, but that nasty voice. I knew that it was a different voice, right? And I was like, oh my God, what? So, but remember, I thought at this time in New Age, you could go to different realms, because that's what they teach you in New Age, that there's all these different realms, right? There's always these other worlds you can get into. So that's what I thought I went to. I thought I accelerated into this other world. But I was terrified of the other world. Why would you be terrified of the other world if you were so good at New Age and all that other stuff, if it was really what you were supposed to be doing? Ask yourself that sometimes. And so I knew that wherever I should have not been in it, talking to it, nothing. And so these girls are coming closer to me. I'm very, very aware that I do not want these people to touch me. I'm very aware, this is the only way I can say it to you guys, that these people were dead. I just couldn't figure out at that point in time why I still saw their bodies, because they were still people. So at that time, I could not figure that out. And so, mind you, I'm not feeling the side of my face or my tongue. And so I'm freaking. So I'm like telling my friend. And so these girls are coming next to me, and these girls are basically saying like, don't you want to stay? I kid you not. The voice was so disgusting. It was like, you want to be here. You know, you want to be here, because all those people in the party were dead. You can be spiritually dead. I didn't know that at that time. And your body still works and your body's still physical, but you are spiritually dead. There's nothing. You're gone. You're dead. And so they wanted me to be there. It was hell. And I mean, spiritually, all of those people there. And so I had walked basically into the devil's playground. And I was walking there by my choices and my actions, and by not knowing the one true living God. I was walking there by everything I chose to do that was allowing demons to come into my body so that they could use me. They wanted my soul. They wanted me in hell. So that night I met God and I met the devil at the same time, because that night was a night that they were planning to kill me, and only by the grace of God, because God had a better plan that they didn't know. Praise Jesus for that. They didn't know that plan, but that was their plan. That's why I say ultimate betrayal. Do not think that these spirits are your friends. They are demons masquerading as angels of light. They are not your friends, and they don't mean you well. They're talking to me like, don't you want to be here? You like it here. Bro, who says that in a party? Don't you want to stay? I'm asking the people for my ID. So my friend is like, Jess, because they tell us if you take your IDs, you can't come back. And my friend was like, yo, we can't come back. Are you sure you really want to go? And I was like, bro, yes, I want to go. Like, I've got to get out. We got to get out of here now. I know, because I'm seeing all this crazy, ridiculous stuff. And I'm like, we have to get out of here now. Like, I'm thinking, I don't even know how much time we have here. Are the doors going to lock? Are we even in the world still? So I'm like, we have to get out of here. Yes. I was like, I want my IDs back. They're taking forever. All these people are talking to me. People are coming in behind. These guys, dead, walking, dead. And so they're taking forever to get my ID. Here comes the boom again, right? Every time the boom came back, it was stronger. And I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, yeah, it's happening. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. So I'm like, yo, so we get the IDs and we get out of the actual club, and I tell my friend, we have got to get to the emergency room. I've got to get to the emergency room. something's not right. Something's not right. And I told my friend, I was literally almost in tears. I'm almost in tears every time I even repeat it. And I told my friend, because I knew something was really wrong. And I told my friend, if something happens to me tonight, please call my grandmother. Like, something's gonna happen and I want you to call my grandmother. And so she's making sure she has my grandmother's number. And I'm like, and she was like, oh my God, Jet, like what? Yo, we were freaking out. And I was like, so then she goes to call an Uber. Guys, I would have never made it to the hospital. I would have never made it to the hospital, guys. I would not. And I kid you not, praise Jesus, there were no police the entire time so far, the few days we had been on this trip. And we're putting in like shaking to get an Uber. We had saw no police. Do you know that God brought 2 police officers across the street exactly at that time? We jetted across the street and she goes to tell them my friend needs an ambulance. You know, the police could get you the ambulance more faster than you in the Uber in the hospital that we don't even know where it was because we were in a state we didn't even know. And do you know there are demons on different levels in different places, different states and different countries? Do you know that? Oh, okay. Just so you know. So I'm gonna stop here, guys. Part 2 will begin with so now I'm realizing that I have met the devil, that I'm on a different spiritual level, and that something is coming to kill me and try to kill me. So I'm very clear about that. And part 2, guys, will be the introduction to me meeting God. So come back for part 2.